There are moments in science when discovery feels like triumph. Moments when the universe itself seems to reward us with secrets, as if we are children finally bold enough to reach for the forbidden. These are the moments that inspire us, that remind us why we look up at the night sky and dream. And then there are moments that feel very different. Moments when what we see unsettles us so deeply that the thrill of discovery curdles into dread. When the data does not inspire, but terrifies. When the unknown does not invite us forward, but stares back into us, forcing questions we are not ready to answer. That is exactly what just happened with Voyager 1. The most distant spacecraft humanity has ever built is more than 24 billion kilometers from Earth, far beyond the protective bubble of our Sun, moving deeper into the abyss of interstellar space. It was expected to fade quietly into the silence, its power dwindling, its instruments shutting down one by one, until it became nothing more than an ancient relic drifting forever. But Voyager 1 has just sent back an image that has left scientists at NASA speechless. This is not a glitch. Not noise. Not the garbled cry of a dying machine. What arrived was structured. Deliberate. Terrifying in its implications. The photograph, blurred by distance, degraded by time and technology, should have shown nothing but darkness, the cold, featureless backdrop between the stars. Instead, it carried anomalies. Shapes. Patterns. Symmetry. A suggestion of geometry where no geometry should exist. And though the image is faint, though it flickers with the imperfections of a camera built nearly half a century ago, its message is unmistakable. Voyager 1 has seen something. Something vast. Something that should not be there. The discovery has triggered panic behind closed doors. What did Voyager capture out there in the darkness? Was it a natural cosmic phenomenon that we have never encountered before? Or was it proof, undeniable and unwanted proof, of something we were never meant to see? To understand why this single blurred photograph has shaken the foundations of NASA, you must first understand the improbable journey that brought Voyager 1 to this place. It was 1977 when Voyager left Earth. Humanity had only just begun to dream seriously of exploring the stars. The spacecraft was never meant to live this long. Its mission was modest by today's standards: fly past Jupiter and Saturn, take photographs, study their moons and rings, and then sail forward until its systems died. No one expected it to survive beyond a decade. Yet here we are, nearly 50 years later, and it is still alive. Still transmitting across an unimaginable gulf of space. Voyager 1 has long since crossed the heliopause, the invisible boundary where the influence of our Sun ends and the true interstellar medium begins. Beyond that threshold lies a realm no human probe had ever entered before. For years, its transmissions have fascinated scientists, revealing precious information about magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and the density of interstellar gas. But in 2024, something shifted. The probe began sending anomalies. Alongside the expected data streams, there appeared patterns of repetition, fragments of signals that seemed structured, almost like code hidden within the noise. Engineers dismissed it at first, chalking it up to the failing memory of an ancient machine. But then an image file arrived. And all explanations crumbled. The picture was faint. Its pixels scarred by distance, its edges blurred. Yet, there was no mistaking what it suggested. Instead of empty space, Voyager had captured oscillating bands of light and shadow, symmetrical arcs, repeating nodes. Shapes that looked less like random cosmic dust and more like architecture. It was as if the probe had photographed a structure. Something vast, geometric, eerily ordered. Suspended in the void where no stars should shine. Data analysis only deepened the unease. The distortions in the image matched harmonic ratios, mathematical constants that appear in music, in orbital mechanics, and even in the architecture of human civilization. The geometry was too precise, too deliberate to be an accident. NASA's first instinct was denial. They claimed the image was corrupted, the result of failing systems. But independent labs that gained access to the raw data argued otherwise. The image was real. Its repeating geometry was too perfect to be explained away. If Voyager truly captured what the data suggests, then it had stumbled upon one of two possibilities, and both were terrifying. Either it had revealed a natural phenomenon governed by laws of physics we do not yet understand, or it had encountered the handiwork of intelligence. Behind NASA's official statements, curiosity turned into alarm. Leaks from engineers told of multiple closed-door meetings, frantic debates, and a level of secrecy that had not surrounded the Voyager program in decades. What frightened them was not just the possibility of a structure, but the patterns that linked the image to earlier anomalies. The strange sequences of data. The fragments of what some described as structured noise. It was becoming undeniable. Voyager was not simply observing. It was interacting. And then came the question no one dared to voice publicly. Was Voyager still under our control? This machine was built in the 1970s, with computing power weaker than a digital watch. Its commands are slow, its systems fragile. Yet now it was transmitting in rhythms and structures that no one at mission control had programmed. Could something have reached into the spacecraft? Could its instruments be influenced, hijacked, repurposed by whatever it had encountered? Some theorists clung to the hope that it was natural, a region of space where physics itself behaves differently, distorting Voyager's sensors. But others whispered darker possibilities. What if Voyager had touched something alive? What if it was not just a probe anymore, but a conduit? If that was true, then the image it sent was not simply a picture. It was a message. And perhaps it was not meant for us. As analysts pored over the raw image, they discovered something even more chilling. The repeating nodes and curves did not align randomly. They matched mathematical structures that humanity has revered for centuries: golden ratios, harmonic divisions, fractal symmetries. They were the language of design. The signature of intent. Within days of the image transmission, NASA's public updates grew strangely muted. What had once been a mission celebrated for its openness and transparency suddenly became opaque. The official Voyager mission page went quiet. Statements became generic, stripped of detail. Scientists who once eagerly gave interviews began refusing requests. Whispers leaked that intelligence agencies had demanded classified briefings. The silence spoke volumes. If the image were meaningless, they would have proved it. If it were a simple error, they would have dismissed it. But instead, they chose to hide it. That silence told the world the truth. The photograph carried something humanity was not ready to face. Among the scientific community, speculation erupted. What if the structure was not natural at all? What if Voyager had captured evidence of technology? The thought was electrifying and terrifying. Do not forget, Voyager carries with it the golden record, humanity's invitation to the stars, a phonograph of greetings, sounds, music, and images of life on Earth. A cosmic message in a bottle. What if it had been answered? And what if the answer was not a signal, but an interception? The idea sent shivers through even the most skeptical minds. Some imagined Voyager stumbling across an ancient artifact, drifting unseen for eons. Others suggested an outpost, a construct deliberately placed to monitor the galaxy. And still others whispered about something more terrifying, an entity not built, but woven into the very fabric of space itself. Whatever the truth, it was no longer theoretical. It was staring at us, pixel by pixel, through a single haunting image. But the story did not end there. Soon after the photograph, Voyager's transmissions grew stranger still. Buried in the static were sequences that repeated in cycles. Binary-like streams, too structured to be random. Cryptographers noticed rhythms, patterns that resembled code. Not telemetry. Not data from any instrument Voyager carries. Something else. Something speaking through it. The photograph was the introduction. The code was the dialogue. And humanity had just been drawn into a conversation it was never prepared to have. Voyager was never meant to be a messenger. It was a machine built in the 1970s, with a handful of cameras and sensors, and a golden record meant only as a token of who we were. Yet 50 years later, it has become something far more. A harbinger. A warning. The image with its unnatural geometry. The signals with their coded precision. The silence from NASA. All of it points to one terrifying truth. Voyager has crossed a threshold. Beyond the edge of our solar system, the void is not empty. Something is there. Something vast. Something deliberate. And now it knows about us. The panic inside NASA is not about a blurry picture. It is about what comes next. Because if Voyager 1 has indeed made first contact, then the universe is no longer a mystery. It is no longer a silent ocean waiting to be crossed. It is a mirror. And for the first time in history, something on the other side is staring back.